During the summer of 2023, we moved to a remote Scottish Hebridean island to be its only two residents, along with our 2 pet sheep and pair of cats. These remote islands seem to retain an old-fashioned rhythm and a charm which we find encouraging us to live a more frugal and simple life, the way man was perhaps more intended to. We have an ancient stone cottage to restore, veggies to grow, livestock to build up, fish to catch and smoke, a boat to buy, and much more. Step back in time with us at the Scottish Isle. We want to experiment on this stove before we send off to get all the parts for it to make sure that the cast iron is up to snuff. So we didn't want it buckling or cracking or breaking or anything like that when we put heat in it. So we lit the fire and you'll see what happened. I think we've decided we're keeping it, aren't we? I'd much rather keep it than get a new one.
Well, I love the look of it. Like I said, I'd like to keep the rust aesthetic as well. Just do what we can. I don't know how what we can put on it to help stop the rust from getting any worse. But what I'm doing here is pointless.
Just getting the worst of the big bits off.
If you're wondering what we're doing, the heat helps. And we've done this many times. So there are hundreds of different ways to get something done. That's working really well now, isn't it? Yeah. And that's the expansion of the heat that's done that. Sorry, am I getting this in your face?
No. Are you trying? I do kind of like the look of it as it is as well. If you can just get it more of a uniform colour, like.
It's going to take all the rust off it.
You don't want to take all the rust off it?
Do you?
Well, I want it to be a bit better than that, but... made a template for the glass to make sure we order the right stuff, and that's what we send off to the stove glass people. It'll have a beading of rope around the edging, and also we'll replace the fire rope around the edge here, and should be good to go. So it'll, all in all, it'll cost about 70 quid. So much better to repurpose this than it is to spend 500 quid on a brand new stove.
We're now on the mainland, and this is the ancient trackway which leads to ours on the island, which we showed you in, is it episode 12? But anyway, this track comes up here, which again, once again, the deer are still using. And I thought I'd share this with you as I walk up here, because this is the first time that I've been up here. This track leads to an old village. The ferns will stop me getting so far, but let's just follow it to the top. It's a bit of a steep climb, this. So this carries on up there through those trees. Oh. And on the other side are where the buildings are. Okay, I couldn't resist. I walked a little bit further. I found this. It looks from this distance to be another animal pen. Let's go and take a closer look. It's heavily covered. Once these ferns are gone, we'll be able to see a lot more. Completely covered in moss. But too small to be a homestead, a house of any kind. There's obviously the entrance there. But that's another one we can add to our list. And I'm now going to walk up past this oak and look at this oak, how it's split in two. Still alive, still growing. And there's the major part of it. Incredible.
I mean, it is kind of, it does look pretty hollow in there, so it could possibly be a fire, an old chimney. Although, if that's the case, then probably a lot of the stone's been robbed out of it to make newer buildings. I think it's a good contender to be a sort of small living area with beasts on the other side. And that way, you know, they keep each other warm.
This is about a mile away from the cottage, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say as the crow flies, rounded corners.
There's no visible sign of windows, doors or fireplace, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't one. There could have been in the centre of the screen there, a fireplace there. In the centre of the screen there, that could have been a window. But if it is a croft, would it be a croft?
Well, this looks like an obvious doorway here.
Well, that's what I was going to say here. This point here is the only obvious doorway where this tree is. So in the middle of the screen now. But this is really old, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, proper rounded corners and everything.
So would this have been a croft? Or would you call this a cottage?
I have no idea. Yeah, that could be a space for a window.
Yeah, to me it looks like it's a window space, but it's a fireplace. Is that the issue? And they wouldn't have put would they put a window in a fire? They wouldn't have done, would they?
No, they wouldn't have. They would have put air hole. I think it's a bit posh for a buyer, but I don't know. Good grief. There's just everywhere. Scott, there's another one up here. Scott down at the one that we were just filming there. There's another one right here. Don't eat that. Now this is interesting because you can definitely see a partition here. And then there's another one right over there. Can you see it in the trees? So proper little township, this one. That's the one that we drive past in the car over there. And here's another part of this building. This has definitely been robbed out to make a newer build. But wow, yeah. These could have been byres for sheep or roundups for sheep for when they did the dipping. And no, that's definitely a house. You can see the window in it. What a spot, eh?
But behind that tree is the old schoolhouse. It's still a beautiful place to have made your home. So that's 2 possible homesteads that we found. And there we have it. That is the old schoolhouse. Oh, that was a climb. You can see the older buildings over there that again we filmed and found the other day. And that is the schoolhouse. But this time definitely we can't get to it. Just not enough time left.
We ran out of rainwater a couple of days ago. These are our water tanks that sit at the back of the house. And yesterday I came up here to investigate what was going on because we shouldn't have run out of rainwater. It's been raining. And to say that the system here is haphazard, it's been left in a haphazard way, is an understatement. The left tank is completely empty. It has no source going into it at all. So I'm going to connect the right tank, which does fill up from the hill, to the left. We had been told that our water comes from a burn further up the hill, and that's correct. But the pipework wasn't even in the water. So unless we have torrential rain, these are never going to fill up. This overgrown tangle is where our water comes from. It's not the source, but it's the course that it runs down to be fed into our tanks. Last night when we came up here, this blue pipe was sticking up in midair. No way it's going to collect anything at all if there's just this little trickle of water as there is at the minute. So it would need to be a raging torrent in order for it to collect anything. Now we've got a filtration system in the house, so we're not worried about this source of water because we use it for washing and we don't drink it. But still, anyone can see that it needs attention. So this pipe doesn't even connect to the cisterns. So we need to address that too. I'm going to try and stuff the area around the edge of the pipe to stop any water going past it so that it all, as much as possible, can go into our cisterns. The actual solution for this will be to take a length of pipe that is complete from the cisterns up the hill to another point that I'll show you where two streams converge and build a little spring house there essentially. The problem with this pipe is the amount of sediment that's going to build up underneath it. So, we can't have it blocking all the time. The supply is meagre as it is, but I can see it is flowing into it now. So here, just up the hill from where the pipe is, there's a convergence of two springs. So I can't really film very easily for you guys to me digging this out, but that's what I'm going to do. Here's the reason I can't film much, because it's just a jungle of ferns. But I'm just going to take the pickaxe to this and just quickly try and dig out some of the debris in it, see if we can't get the water flowing a bit better. Okay, I've cleared it now as far as the two little streams meet. Whew. And it certainly is flowing much better. You know, this was nothing last night. It was just mud. So all these little divots in the natural rock bed, they're going to act as natural filters as the water sort of spills up and over and cascades down. And there's the pipe down there. I've covered it over with some mesh. So now the last thing to do is to just connect the two pipes and pray for rain. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a joy to behold. I believe that man has a deep innate nature from birth, a spirit or way of thought, if you will, which inspires him to invent, to make better, to make life easier. It's also in our nature to be agrarian. We were always meant to be an agricultural people. It's why so many of us yearn to have our own parcel of land, to grow, to keep, to provide. But in our endeavours to make living more convenient, what do we lose? What do we forget? We forget what it means to do something so simple as turn on a tap, to find a spring, dig a trench, fill a cistern with rainwater and have it in store for your family. There is a connection there, similar to how a huntsman feels when he goes to his freezer for a haunch of wild meat he caught himself. In our societies, there is a purpose and meaning which is obscured for the sake of our convenience. We can't live without water, we can't grow crops nor water our livestock without rain, and we forget who causes it to rain, that upon which our lives depend.